Hello. Welcome back to the Iron Mindset. Ooh. I am Iron Ian. You're very welcome, gang. We have another quick topic to cover. This one was not necessarily asked, but it has been, in the ether, in the chats for the last couple of weeks since the recent announcement that gyms in Ireland would be reopening soon. So, this advice is applicable to anyone who may be returning to the gym or returning to training after a layoff or time off over the course of the lockdown, or if you're somebody who's attending the gym for the very first time, be it that you've put on some weight over the lockdown, or this is just the time it's occurred to you, it's time, I'm going to start training. So these are 5 pieces of advice. Now initially this list was 10, but I'll be here all fucking day. So we're going to go with 5 today, and then later on, if there's demand or if people want to know, I can elaborate on this further. So we'll get straight into it. I will also say, gang, if you do want to send any of these questions in or have a discussion about anything, hit me up over on Instagram at IronIanPT. So point number 1 is start small. All right. Now, if you're returning to the gym and you haven't been training, or you've been training in a way you wouldn't normally train, so if you're normally, let's say, somebody who does a lot of weight training, but you've had no weights, you've been jogging, your work capacity for weight training is probably going to be a lot smaller. Now, if you're a newbie, somebody who's just starting out, you haven't been to the gym before, what that means is you won't have the same fitness and endurance as somebody who's been training consistently for 6 months. So you might see somebody else doing 5 sets of 10 on an exercise, but that doesn't mean that's exactly what you have to do. You could go in and do 3 sets of 8, let's say. Basically, you want to get away with, at the beginning, doing the least amount possible, because you're still going to make progress. Your body is so tuned into making progress. Like, it's so sensitive to the progress right now because it hasn't had this, what we'd call stimulus. So it hasn't been under the pressure or the stress of having to lift weights and do cardio, that it's going to have to adapt very quickly. So whereas somebody else might need to, let's say, run for 30 minutes to get the same cardiovascular benefits, you might only need to run for 5 to 10 minutes. So you're better off starting super small and only adding on when you have to. Don't back yourself into a corner by bashing your head against the wall and training for 2 hours, nearly killing yourself, and then having nowhere to go. You'll just be exhausted. So start small, a couple of times a week, and 30 minutes to 1 hour, whatever you want, and try and maintain that. And then incrementally over time, you'll see it actually feels like I could add some more reps and be fine, or I could add a little bit more weight here and I'll be okay, or I can start to go a little deeper on this squat or whatever. So number 1 would be start small. Don't feel like you need to go in and go beast mode straight away just because you see the people that are super fit doing that. Remember, they had to work up to that point. Like, you don't start your job like when you were 18 or whatever. You didn't go in and have to do the same workload as the CEO. You had your small manageable amount of workload you had to do, and then your responsibilities get more and more and more the more you're in the job. So number 2, looking at my list here, so find out what you can adhere to. So what's going to be important here is this is what I always see. I see people, they go to the gym, they'll go like 5, 6, 7 times a week for 3 to 6 weeks and completely burn out. And their whole thought process is, well, if I only go 2 or 3 times now, that's pointless because I was going 5 to 6. That's not how this works. You have to find a number of times you can go and a training duration that you can adhere to. You want this to be something you're going to be doing in the long run, something you can do long term. Personally, I think the ideal number of days is about 4. 4 or 5, whatever works for you. But 3 is also fine, and 6 is fine. It depends on the individual and what their goals are. But as a beginner or somebody returning to the gym, pick the number of days that is going to have the least amount of impact on other parts of your life. So if you want to say, well, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times per week for the hour and 15 minutes, whatever the blocks are going to be when we come back where people have to book in, and they're going to be my days. I'm going to have 2 days where I'm focused mainly on weights with a little bit of cardio, and 1 day I'm going to be focused on cardio with a little bit of weights. That is absolutely fine, and you can still make progress doing that, assuming you do it over the long period of time. See, this is kind of the issue people make. They think training 6 days a week is fundamentally going to get them more results than training 3 days a week. But the problem is if you can only train 6 days a week for 3 weeks and then you burn out and stop, all that time investment was for nothing. The better thing to do is, instead of training 6 times a week for 3 weeks, it's to train 3 times a week forever. That's way better. So find what you can adhere to and adhere to that. You can always add time later, or add days later when it suits your lifestyle a bit more. Like if you're a student or you work and you have a family, I'm sure it's more difficult to get this in. So like, one is not ideal, but it's still a million times better than zero. And then 2 times is way better than once, and 3 times is a million times better than twice. So you're better off thinking of it like that. But that there's also a point of diminishing returns with that. Like if you get up to 6 times a week and it's, you know, you're alienating people, you've no time left in your day, you're stressed out, then that doesn't really work with other aspects of your life. But conversely, there are people who want to train 6 times a week and it works for them because maybe they go in and train 6 times a week for 30 minutes. So it's not that big of a deal. It's like part, let's say, their morning routine. They go into the gym at 6 a.m., train for 30 minutes and leave. And then they go to work. So that can work, but again, find what works for you as an individual. All right, number 3, don't take too much on at once. So this kind of ties into the same thing. There's no point for you to go to the gym and say, right, well, I'm going to train 6 days a week, but I'm also, every other day I'm going to do cardio, and then every other day to that I'm going to do abs. And I'm also going to be in 1,000 calorie deficit, and I'm going to walk every morning, and I'm going to cut out all my carbs, and I'm going to do intermittent fasting. If you do all this, you are just going to spin too many plates and they're all going to crash. Focus on spinning 2 plates at once. Go to the gym, clean up diet. That's it. Just focus on those 2 things. After a couple of weeks, these plates are just spinning themselves. You can say, okay, improve sleep quality. You know what I mean? Great. Cut down junk food. All right. Start following a strict program. Yeah? These are all plates you can start to spin, and over the course of, let's say, a year to 18 months, before you know it, you've got 8 plates spinning, all related to you becoming fitter and healthier. So rather than trying to do it all at the beginning, let them add on incrementally. As things become more habit-based and they become easier to do, like it's not a novelty anymore. Like getting up and brushing your teeth when you were a kid, you had to be told to do, but as an adult, hopefully, you just get in and do that shit yourself. You don't need to be told, because it's habit. Same with doing your laundry, taking a shower, whatever it might be. You used to have to be bed into the shower or the bath as a kid. Now you just do it because you know you have to. Yeah, same idea with the gym. That will start to become habit if you give it the time. So don't take on too much at once. Let these things go themselves. Let them unravel over time. Let them play out over time. See, I know we all want results right now, but that's the point. There's more to this than just show. Like, yes, ultimately it's eating a bit better and showing up and doing your training. But you have to factor those behavioral changes into the rest of your life. So if it's not something that can be easily done, depending on your other responsibilities or your personality traits, that's something you're going to have to let play out over time and see how it fits into the rest of your life and how your life changes because of it. All right, number 4, and this is actually probably the most important one. Hire a coach. All right, a lot of people leave this for the longest time, and then when they do hire a coach, going, damn, wish I'd done this a long time ago. Listen, there are good coaches, there are bad coaches, and there are a shitload of mediocre coaches. All right, but hire a coach. This makes you accountable to someone else. You now have a financial investment, and your training to some degree is going to be structured. You're going to have somebody to ask questions of and bounce ideas off that will be more knowledgeable than you. Like, doing this shit yourself at the beginning can be daunting. There's a lot of information out there online. At least this gives you a filter. So I would always say hire a damn coach. Now, if it's in person, great. If it's online, great. It doesn't matter, but hire one. Some people will always say coaches are too expensive. Yeah, well, so is, being overweight and unhealthy. So, you're either going to pay the money now for a coach to help you along the way for like 8 weeks, 16 weeks, or you're going to pay for it later on down the road, occupying a hospital bed, potentially. Maybe not, but there's other shit that we all waste your money on. Having to get new clothes, or like drink, or the big one I always say, if you can afford a Fitbit, which is like, what, 250 quid? A trainer can do you 4 or 5 sessions for that, depending on the trainer, yeah? So there's absolutely no reason you can't get a trainer, even on a short-term basis, just to teach you the basics and give you some sort of beginner program to get you going, some kind of understanding and guidance on the food. It will pay off 1,000-fold. That education and knowledge and guidance you'll get at the beginning will play out over time. It will give you a starting point, a foundation to build on that you can maybe educate yourself, and maybe you can work with the trainer incrementally for a couple of weeks every couple of months. I'm telling you, it's the biggest one. It's why so many people say it. Listen, I don't do my own programming. Abs Powerlifting do my programming. Do you know what I mean? Because it's easier for me to outsource that than have to deal with myself and my own biases and preferences. If I wasn't coached by these people, I would probably never do half the things I do in training and wouldn't have progressed as far as I did. And I'm a trainer, you know what I mean? I'm a manager. I'm an assistant manager in FlyFit, like, so I have vast enough knowledge to do all this shit myself. But it's so much better to just be accountable to somebody external, because it holds you to a standard that in your head you're always going to be in one of two mind frames. You're the manager or you're the employee. You're either procrastinating or you're cracking the whip. Whereas the coach will help you find that middle ground. So that would be what I would say to do as number 4. And then finally, number 5, do what you enjoy. Alright? There's no point in going in and hating every second of this. There's no movement in the gym that is absolutely vital. Some coaches will say, you know, you have to squat and you have to deadlift. And don't get me wrong, when I coach my people, I always try to teach them to squat and deadlift. But that doesn't mean you have to squat and deadlift the straight bar. It doesn't mean you have to bench press. You have to do, you know, running or cycling as your cardio. You can do what you enjoy. If you're somebody who's just doing this to be physically healthier, you know, a little bit stronger, a little bit better looking, feel a bit better, more energy, you are absolutely entitled to do what you enjoy. Sure, there are movements that are more efficient. There are movements that get you more benefits in a shorter space of time. But if you hate doing them, you're probably not going to do them for very long. So find a system or a modality or training style that works for you, and you will do it a lot longer than you would something you hate. As an aside, this will be a bonus, number 6. It's great if you can get other people to go with, or people that are like-minded. I know for me, one of the best things to happen for me is to have training partners. That keeps me accountable, keeps me on task. It makes me not skip sessions, not skip my workouts, not jump over movements, and not go lazy on my weights. It makes me focused, and I keep them focused, they keep me focused. All right, so training partner as well. So again, if you enjoy it, if you can make it a social thing as well, that is a massive benefit for you. And then if it becomes like a sport or an outdoor activity, like for us it's powerlifting, that's amazing too. So again, find what you enjoy and stick to it. So very quickly to recap, start small. Yeah, don't overdo it. Find what you can adhere to. So whether it's 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever. Find what suits your life. Number 3, don't take too much on at once. Don't try to fix your diet, your sleep, your training, your water intake, your, you know, whatever, your overindulgence in alcohol or spicy food. Well, spicy food's lovely. Sweet food, whatever. You know, focus on 1 or 2 things at once, and then when they become easy and natural and second nature, then start to focus on the other things. Hire a damn coach. Hire a coach, for the love of God. It will make such a massive difference for your training. If you need recommendations on coaches in your area, if you want to work with somebody in person or online coaches, you can always send me a DM at IronENPT on Instagram, and I will point you in the best direction that I know. Let's see. And then do what you enjoy is number 5. Please, for the love of God, go and enjoy this. Like, you don't have to torture yourself in the gym for, you know, 45 minutes 6 times a week. You can enjoy this process. I enjoy my training. Now, I'm a bit of a sadist. I like long, grueling training sessions, but you may not. You might like short, sweet, intense, or easy going, something like a bit of yoga or whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you're getting up and moving around, you'll feel better in the long run. And that's ultimately why we all do this. We want to look better. We want to feel good. Yeah. So find something that adds that value to your life. Gang, I'm going to get out of here. All right. Have a good day. And again, if you have any questions, hit me up. Send me a message over on the Instagram at IronENPT. If it's a discussion you want to have about one of the videos, or if it's something you want me to talk about on one of the videos, we can do that. All right. Have a good one, gang. Take it easy.